you guys go down, give me a chance to get you.
This wasn't bad.
You know that FPS game you always designed in your head when you were younger? Slower paced but intense, cinematic but requiring teamwork. The one that felt like what you were seeing in your head when you ran around the woods playing airsoft with your friends. I think Post Scriptum's that game.
Oh, you fucking jump shot me! That's going in my MOG montage.
Yeah, hit it. You hit it like...
Infantry on the road next to it.
Is that a grenade? Yup.
The movement is methodical. The maps are huge and interesting. The gunplay is intense and immersive. The game requires communication and teamwork, but you don't already need to have a bunch of friends who play it to enjoy that teamwork. It's the game I daydreamed about one day existing while not paying attention in school. It runs like a mathlete, but most of the time that isn't enough to ruin the experience. Most of the time. And we're not going to focus on those negatives too much anyways. Instead, we'll talk about what makes this game special, which in short is movement, pace, gunplay, comms, and one super special secret factor I will reveal later on in the video. Stick around for that. Looking at this footage, you'd be forgiven for drawing comparisons to Hell Let Loose, Squad, etc. Post Scriptum actually started out as a mod for Squad, so that one is especially excusable. But while these games are all very similar, like fine wines, if you are a true connoisseur, you will be able to notice and appreciate the subtle differences they present. So let's talk about what makes this vintage special. And I know the name's been changed to Squad 44, but this is my video and I'm just going to call it Post Scriptum because I think that's a cooler name. Movement. The scale of the maps is the base factor that allows this game to shine. Sure, Hell Let Loose is large in scale, accentuated by absurdly low running speeds, but the slightly less linear nature of Post Scriptum makes it feel more like a sandbox. There are vehicles and you can catch a ride for a nice flank, but more often than not you'll find yourself trudging through the shrubs with your squad on foot. And I really mean with your squad. People stick together in this game more than any of the others we've mentioned, and I've got a few theories as to why. Number one is scale of map. The distance of engagements can be extreme. At these long ranges, the firefights are slower and more extended. You have some time to assess the situation, put together a plan with your nearby teammates, and execute it even in the middle of an engagement.
How are boys doing in the rear? Are they down or are they?
The building. There's fucking MG42 over there as well. So there's two MGs on that side.
How are boys doing
So
down
I'll
south?
I'll keep this here just in case. All right, let's move.
Yep.
King, you take lead, okay? Take point, man. Hey, we follow King, all right? On King.
Boys, do not reach the horizon.
Oh, shoot.
Oop, on the right, on the right,
It's
on the
always
right, on
me.
the right.
It's really always me.
Hang on, Nico, I got you. Hang on, Nico, I'm coming.
Second is the weaponry. We'll talk more about this later, but it's hard to feel like a one-man army while carrying a bolt-action rifle. On top of this, I found that anecdotally, more people use their mic in this game. Certainly more than Hell Let Loose, and I'd even say more than the average Squad server. The game is a fraction of Squad's player base, and I think you Post Scriptum fellows might be a little more dedicated to this specific game. In a similar vein, I found that there is a much higher percentage of passionate, if not competent, Squad leaders.
If it's possible to quickly upgrade the rally in the backyard, it'd be great.
I had to spawn for him to do that.
Copy.
Your mileage may vary, especially on American servers. And anyways, putting a random internet stranger in charge of leading 8 other internet strangers into a relatively realistic World War II firefight is a ridiculous concept. And when you keep that in mind, the quality of teamwork and leadership found in Post Scriptum matches is pretty impressive.
Keep spawning on the radio or playing if you want to be more cinematic. I don't give a shit. Just spawn.
Your squad lead might not be this year's top West Point graduate, but I think they are more likely to communicate to the team and attempt to formulate a plan than your average squad SL, who you're lucky to hear from 5 times in a match.
Alright, boys, in the trench line and push noise. We gotta get latched to that destroy mark.
Pace. The drama and intensity of a life and death firefight is obviously difficult to convey in a video game that you're playing while comfortably sat at home. Post Scriptum kind of achieves this though. It doesn't quite come across in these clips the same way it does when you're sat there playing the game, and I think this has a lot to do with those long moments of navigating the map and planning your attack. By the time you're finishing that flank and approaching the enemy hab, you spend 5 minutes planning and 10 minutes walking, a good 15 minutes of build-up that will go to waste if an enemy's stray bullet catches you in the temple.
I don't think we can push it though.
Well, a shot at...
No, we can. Ballistic right south. The guy on the med.
This creates high stakes. The moments of action have long periods of build-up beforehand to add tension, just like any good war movie. And the fact that Post Scriptum was able to even remotely mimic the drama of carefully scripted movies in an improvised, unguided multiplayer FPS is endlessly impressive to me.
See where the fucking blue squares are at over there? They're in between the MG42 and the MG42's on the opposite.
How about do it in the rear? Are they down or are they building?
And those long stretches you go without firing your weapon only add to the intensity of the moment when bullets start flying. It feels like shit is really hitting the fan. And the same thing goes for seeing enemies. There's so much time spent scouting their lines, jockeying for position to try to have the better angle, that when you finally encounter an enemy squad, it feels like encountering a dangerous and legendary foe. If you've really let yourself get immersed in the match, there is a real feeling of intensity and adrenaline there. For 20 minutes you've been shooting at shadows in the bushes or flashes of helmets on a ridgeline, and suddenly you find yourself with an enemy in the next building over, or running up on your bush, and the intensity is high. Okay, so you spent 15 minutes dicking around with your squad in the French countryside, and you finally stumbled upon some enemies. In a normal, smaller scale FPS, you're playing on a map that is equally balanced in all directions so that each player has the opportunity to win almost any encounter. This does not apply to Post Scriptum. You and your squad's positioning as you approach an objective or begin a firefight will often make the outcome a foregone conclusion. That's sort of the macro, larger flow of the battle and gameplay reserved for the squad leaders and commanders. The micro, the gunplay of the individuals within the firefights, is also deep and rewarding and complements the pacing we just talked about. Here are the features that factor in during those moments when a firefight kicks off. Stamina is important when considering how to navigate the map. Running out of stamina has devastating effects on your combat effectiveness until you take a moment to drink from your canteen and rest.
Spread out. Let's spread out the whole thing. Like 3 and 3.
Giving a huge advantage to the side that has the cover and time to do so. This also encourages squad cohesion. Sure, if you're sick like me, you can just solo run up an exposed hill and simply outclass the clown who's guarding it.
Over here.
We might move to the south. That's no one else does.
But the ordinary player is unlikely to accomplish this. Suppression is intense and exactly what you'd expect in this game. Bullets overhead and explosions nearby mess up your aim, blur your vision, and warp your hearing. Machine gun suppression is especially effective, more on this shortly. Mounting or weapon rest is present in the game, surprising if you're the type of squad player that checks the dev logs and stuff like that. That one might shock you. It's subtle and kind of hard to activate, so you might not notice for a while, but it's there. Just another advantage to those at rest to encourage good positioning and sightline control of the map. Weaponry, obviously one of the main distinctions between this game and Squad. Post Scriptum was World War II, so most folks are running around with a bolt action or at best semi-automatic rifles. I think it's more or less the same damage model as Squad, but because mostly everyone is using these rifles, this adds a lot of importance to specialty roles like SMGs or MGs. One machine gun can alter the course of the game, and an SMG out front can be the difference maker when clearing a town or building or some other close quarters flag. To me, the high percentage of semi or bolt action rifles slows the pace and allows for squads in unfavorable conditions to sort of maneuver their way out. In squad, once all 10 of you get pinned down behind some compound wall, it's over. It's over. It's just automatic rifle fire overhead and grenades landing at your feet for 5 minutes as you all try to bandage each other in a pile.
We need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you gotta still pick you up front. Bail. Displace.
In Post Scriptum, because the individual has less firepower and is a less effective combatant, it requires a higher level of coordination to keep a full squad pinned down.
Southwest 220.
One guy missing a few shots here and there, and your whole squad can escape from that pinned down angle, unless the pinners have an MG, and then you're just fucked. Quirks. Games gotta have quirks. To me, it's the #1 determining factor for grading a game. Post Scriptum has many, intentional and otherwise, but the flagship quirk is the film camera that you inexplicably carry around with you in this active war zone. There's nothing like taking some pictures for your victory roll baddie back home after you and your buddies storm the church. Get my good side.
Wait, where are you from, by the way? Lengiel.
I'm from.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay. Send me that. The pictures you take save in your game folder as screenshots manipulated to look like old war correspondent photos. It's a really nice touch. Alright, let's talk a little bit about the humor. I honestly thank Proximity Chat for motivating me to get into PC gaming. Seeing funny videos on YouTube of Gmod and other Proximity Chat focused games was so important for my development as a PC guy. Sure, it's also integral to the coordination of your teammates, but more importantly, it's integral for having a good time. I wouldn't necessarily say it adds to the immersion, but being able to talk to the people in your vicinity creates both the funniest and most cinematic moments that make this game worth it. On the other side of this house here. Over here. Got him.
Check out his ass cracker.
Special sauce. I never had a lot of friends that were into realistic or hardcore FPSs with steep learning curves, required coordination, and unforgiving damage models. And, you know, this makes sense. There's quite a bit of an entry barrier, and it's tough to convince people to invest their valuable wind down time in a stressfully intense game about war where you can spend 15 minutes running, die instantly to someone you never saw, and then have to W key for another like 15 minutes. But some of the most engaging and fun interactions you can have with strangers in video games are found in these types of titles, and those moments where your patience pays off are worth far more than the instant gratification of more mainstream FPSs. And Post Scriptum falls squarely in that first category of beautifully imperfect but challenging and rewarding. It's one of the ones that I wish more people played. At first, the performance issues really stopped me from enjoying the game. It's hard to get immersed in a game where a quality match takes like 2 hours, when the game keeps crashing and the settings are as low as they go already. But there were stretches when all the machinery clicked and I was able to just play the game. And dude, when that happens, it's something else.
Fragging the shit out of those trenches.
Even on these comically low settings, I experienced some of the most cinematic moments of FPS gameplay I've ever had in my many years of gaming. I didn't even need to be spawned in to witness the pure drama that this game can offer.
Rally's down.
Yep.
We're taking point.
MJ.
Yeah.
Can you try to run across the street to me?
trying to get.
I'll try to smoke him for you. MJ, start running across for me.
Yeah, already did.
Where you at?
In the trench.
MJ, come to me.
Oh, you guys can get a rally up.
No!
Enemies are coming into the objective from the southeast.
It's like an off-Broadway performance of Band of Brothers, and we idiots are the writers, actors, and directors. There are no unlockables. Your reward for playing is the experience of the game itself. The measure of success for a round is how many memorable, cinematic, or funny moments you had. Moments you shared with complete strangers.
We're taking shots from the hill behind us. Take that fucker out. Spot him out.
Sure, you lost the game, or you won. It doesn't really matter. What you got back for the time you invested was executing an awesome flank with your squad that felt like a movie, or getting stranded behind enemy lines and having an insane Alamo moment with a random person whose name you will never know and who you will likely never speak to again.
Run, medic. I got you, puppy. I got you up here. Back. Oh, fuck. Jilly, I'm coming.
We spend a lot of time in the modern day overanalyzing numbers and salaries and success and failure and outcome percentages and a million other things. And sometimes it's nice to just sit down and play a game where the whole point is to have a good time with some new pals. Thanks to everyone whose voice is featured in this video for your contributions, not just to this video, but to the servers you spend time in where we all hang out and play games together. Thanks for watching.